Welcome back, everybody. This is Rob Bartenstein, CEO of Kestra Private Wealth Services, with another episode of Kestra Private Wealth Services on the fly. And I'm joined, as always, by my partner, Scott Wilson.
How you doing?
And today, our special guests, Catalyst Retirement Solutions. Welcome, guys. Klint Kennedy and Bryce Decker.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us, guys. Thanks for making the trip down from Ogden.
No, it's a pleasure. Good to see you.
We're in the beautiful Salt Lake Valley. I think this may be the only office in the country that has a natural view that rivals your view, which is one of the more amazing views.
That's very flattering. And yes, I would agree.
Right? I mean, that view is pretty awesome out there.
It's amazing. I don't know what ski hills are you closer to up your way?
So the major snow basin is the biggest one. Powder Mountain is another. It just went private. Really kind of cool resort. And then what's the little smaller one up in the back? There's another.
They've changed it so often. It's Wolf Mountain. It used to be Wolf Mountain.
But it's a beautiful area.
Yeah,
it's just
any place there's a ski hill, it's kind of pretty.
It's going to be nice. Yeah, they don't put those in really bad neighborhoods.
Yeah, not yet.
So guys, tell us, if you would, just to get the ball rolling, a little bit about Catalyst Retirement Solutions. What's the origin story? Because I know you're coming from a few different directions. Tell us how that all came about and what sort of the view of the future looks like.
Yeah, so we both worked at the same firm in the same city, but probably half hour apart.
That'll take a minute.
And we were just going through the motions. We're financial advisors. We're doing plans for people. What do they call it? Shaking hands, kissing babies.
Yeah.
Thing.
Yeah.
Doing the best we can. And we kind of heard the company we work with they didn't really tell us anything about independence. I think because they thought maybe we'd like it. Right?
Sure.
Yeah.
We don't want that.
We don't want a taste of that. And so after, I'd say it was probably 12 years at that firm, I just kind of was feeling that I wasn't, reaching maybe my potential.
Yeah.
But more so, I would say it was kind of a mystery to me, basically. I wanted to know. And so we went to one of their regional events, and it just left a really bad taste in my mouth. And at that juncture, I drove to their office, knocked on the door and said, "Hey, man, have you ever thought about this, that, the other?" And boom, his dad, who worked in the same office, was there. And he said, "Oh my God, I'm feeling the same way." And all of a sudden we kind of had similar.
So were you guys all friends outside of work? And that's kind of how that happened? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I knew Klint obviously through my dad, Garen, and they basically started together at our other firm. And it was it was perfect timing for when Klint approached Garen, because personally, I was going through a hard time in my life. But then all of a sudden my dad presents to me this idea that Klint brought him, and I just pounced on it.
Were you at the same branch as your dad?
I was.
Okay.
Yeah. So we shared offices.
Gotcha.
And
one of the few, I think, probably.
Yeah. There aren't a lot of advisors that share offices, and we were planning on potentially separating at one time, but I enjoyed working in that office at the time. And gosh, like I said, it was just kind of perfect timing. Everything just fell into place. I felt great about it. I finally felt excited about something again, hearing about, this idea to go independent, and it was just like new life, new hope.
And it's funny at your old firm, which we started at that firm as well, just, before you were born, and, way before you started.
Before everyone was born.
Yeah, that's right. But, you compete with the people in your market, right?
Yeah.
And that's always been difficult as that firm grew, and multiple branches are in the same city. It's, I loved your story that you wanted to work with people that you trusted and liked and thought you could build something with. And for us, as we've sort of matured and developed this brand with our team, we love that concept. And we've always wanted people to think bigger and to, enjoy what they're doing again, which is important to us.
Yeah. We've always talked about the fact that it's really hard for us to impact your personal satisfaction. That's like how you feel about your life. That's hard for us to do directly. but we know we can impact your personal sense of satisfaction. And what we found, and we didn't actually know this when we started doing this, was if we do the second one right, the first one works
automatic,
too.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't work so well the other way around. It's hard to take your personal life and somehow like supercharge your professional life, I think. But it's a lot easier going the other direction. So that's been super rewarding for us. A little bit of a tangent, but Catalyst is a cool name. I mean, and we know what Catalyst means, but like tell us about how you came up with that.
So every domain is taken first.
That's the absolute truth.
But basically, Garen, Bryce, and myself, when we were kind of thinking of names, you know, you kind of go into it in a kind of real linear, thoughtless way, like a cool name.
Mm-hmm.
But then we kind of started thinking about if we were igniting something that grew into something else, and then that kind of kept going and going, it has to start somewhere. So we kind of,
that's good.
Being that we were the first breakaway people in our city to work with Kestra, we were super excited because we thought, okay, we're going to be the
supernova,
the catalyst to this event.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
But then it's, and we were the beginning of that, you know, even though we'll hopefully have other advisors come aboard and kind of take part with us. We always knew that we're those three.
You're the catalyst.
Yeah. Those three elements that
that's really
started it. Yeah. So it's kind of fun.
Nice. Well, so your transition, I think it's safe to say the transition is done.
Yeah.
Right? And it's, I guess on some level, maybe it's never really done, but it's the bulk of it is done. You kind of know where you are now, and you understand how things work again. And so tell us what it's like kind of being on the other side of that, or even if you want to talk about what it was like to go through it.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's hard.
Yeah.
Just like anything that's turns out to be good.
We're never shy, as you'll recall. We're never shy about telling people it's going to be hard. You know?
Yeah. But we don't believe anyone. So when you said it was horrible, we just said, yeah.
Well, we don't want to overpromise anything on that. In that regard, it's a complicated, hard period of time, but it's a finite period of time too. Yeah. And then after that, things are better. But
I mean, I think it's better than I ever expected. The part that you don't realize that being at a different shop for 10, 14, 15 years, you don't really realize how many small processes that you implemented.
Yeah.
That you just, keep between the guardrails all the time. So for me, I would say, even though, the transition is done, the real work, the funner stuff, which is streamlining the business and being super efficient, has just started. I mean, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I feel like those first few months during our transition were nothing I have ever done.
And you had a child.
And there were some personal things going on.
It's not one of our recommended additions.
We had a hip replacement,
We had a hip replacement. We had a childbirth.
Yeah, exactly.
These aren't the things we typically recommend you stack in there, but
not the easiest time to transition. Yeah, exactly. Life did happen. But you know what? We got through it. But like Klint was alluding to, I feel like at this point, now that we're settled in and we've built a foundation of success that we can build off of, I mean, I feel like the real hard work really happens now. And
go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, I feel like at this point, we're super focused on growth in all areas of our business now. And I mean, not just Catalyst as a firm bringing in more advisors and such, but obviously our clients as well, building from there and just making it a household name in our area, not just in our area, but more than that, and thinking more, bigger than that. And so that's what we're excited about, and that's what really we strive for, and actually we want to get up in the morning now. It's not just like, hey, let's go to work, let's do this, let's get through the motions.
Well, it's interesting. The business, we see it every time with every transition. It's just a grind. you're taking 20 years of business and paperwork and condensing it into 3 months of work.
Yes.
So look, it's not fun. And you really don't know what you don't know. I mean, you try to get ready for, the transition. You basically know that it's better for you and your clientele. But until you sit and you can focus on what tools and resources are out there, there's so much that you can expand your business, which we really enjoy seeing. We're talking to a couple of teams in here today, and what they're building outside of the core sort of just asset management business that you were trained to do. They're doing all sorts of things with different markets and different types of products that they were never allowed to do. That's what we love seeing. I mean, are you seeing much of that, thought process going into your business about how you can expand your revenue and different products? Yeah,
because it's all ties into that. You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you start exploring thought and then expansion. And then that whole, the word scalability. It's like, God, I wish I was so much better at that. Because literally it's like, why couldn't Catalyst Retirement Solutions Utah become Catalyst Retirement Solutions South, Catalyst Retirement Solutions North, Catalyst Retirement Solutions Idaho? And then, it's not just a selfish thought. It's because we talked about it before, we're going to die someday. Our clients are going to die someday. And whenever those things happen, people have to make a choice. And the place I worked for before, they only had one choice. Whoever the person they put in front of them is, well, I guess you're my guy.
Yeah.
And then if you think bigger and kind of down the road in the future with real things that are going to happen, your clients who you love, they're going to say, let's interview Bryce. Let's interview Garen. Let's interview the people in Idaho since we have a home up there, a resort home. So it's pretty cool to think of how well you can serve people, not just in the moment, but in the future.
Well, you're in control of your own destiny. I mean, that's the beauty of this business is you build it the way you want to build it. And your clients want you to show them a path, just like you want a succession plan. And that's exciting. That's super cool.
Yeah. And the other thing that makes me realize again is that one of the ways the business has changed, and I'm just talking about the independent business, our piece of the business. I don't know how much the rest of the business is just like us, but over the last, say, 5 years, what we've seen is instead of people just wanting to get out, create Catalyst, and then hunker down in Ogden in that one office and just crank away, a lot of people are talking about what you're talking about, which is this idea of creating multiple locations, adding advisors to the firm, et cetera, et cetera. So the vision of people in the space over the last half decade or so, I think has really expanded. And it's not just here, it's everywhere. We have, all four corners of the country, we see people doing exactly what you're talking about. So I think we're going to continue to see these small, in quotes, small firms emerge into these kind of mini regional firms, where you might have a 3-state footprint with multiple offices in each state, which is really cool.
But I think Kestra does that better than other firms, what you just spoke about, because in my opinion, those other firms, as I were to have that same vision, basically what I would be doing is creating a pyramid scheme, if you will, where I'm at the top of the pyramid and I just bring a bunch of underlings underneath me. And so it's kind of like, it might be generous depending on how you lay it out, but it's definitely doesn't have any type of democratic equality, if you will. Not that that's the end of the world, but it's kind of cool when you approach people in another state that to run a great business and tell them, hey, if you were to partner with 3 other people and we were to affiliate together, not only would we benefit from sharing knowledge, but we would all benefit together.
Well, yeah. And on that line though, or along those lines.
So it's kind of a different thing where that vision, there's kind of like,
well, that was intentional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two different types.
You're saying exactly what we would probably hope that you would say, because you're almost saying what we say to each other when we're doing planning stuff. But the cool, what I wanted to plug Scott's project management folks, because I think that, on a baseline level, an important part. It's not the most important, but an important part of the PWS model is this notion that you guys don't have to be on the hook for the real estate. And that's sort of a complete sentence, right? You're not negotiating a 5 or 7 year lease. You're not dealing with the general contractor. You're not paying to do the build out. You can rely on our team to provide all those services for you, and then we pay the rent into perpetuity. I think the same thing applies when you know you have a reliable project management team that you can go back to on this multiple office project idea, because I can see thousands of conversations that would sound a lot like what you said. And when everybody get like towed up to the line to start, they start to break down because people are like, I don't know. That part about this, I don't think I want to do. Well, who's going to do that?
Yeah.
And then now you've got this team that facilitates that, and they do it really well. I mean, what are you guys doing? Like 18 projects a year?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. But we now have 6 or 7 projects roll over a year. We've got people in temp space to perm. I think the beauty of this is, like your old firm, we also are gravitating to the beauty is allowing advisors to own their own office building and let us pay for the rent. And we allocate a rent allocation that we build into our model that works for you and it works for us. And that's what we try to do is build something that's mutually beneficial. And we have the capital to furnish it. Okay, we give you a furniture budget. We give you an equipment budget. We give you a technology budget. We give you a rent budget. And then you are able to customize it. And if you want to spend more, spend above the budget line. If you want to use the budget, that's great. So we sort of sat down and said, what did we like about our prior firm that we all are at? And owning your own business in your own building is a portion of that build that we enjoy. So not everybody does it initially, but a lot of people do the 5-year lease and then they go, over the next 5 years, I'm going to find a building and purchase it, and then we're going to roll into that space. So we see that
a lot
happening a lot.
More and more. I want to kind of stay on this office build issue for a minute, just because like I started with, I love your office. And I just think
it's beautiful.
It came together so well. Not that I was just talking to somebody in this office, and it's like the last sort of generation of offices, I feel like have just been, every one of them is just gorgeous. But share your experience there. Because I think when I start talking about project management team, blah, 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 it sounds like an infomercial. And it means a lot more when you guys can share how it actually felt or how it worked.
Yeah, you were probably more involved than that.
Well, I thought it was a cool story because we received a lot of different listings for potential office spaces. And we would go to them and visit them, and nothing ever felt right. And then we went to this one, and the guy that was showing us around said, you know what, let's just go look at this other space. It's not on the list, but I'd like to show it to you if you're interested. And so we he just drove us over there, and it was in this beautiful building. And we go up to the office space, and it just immediately we felt super good about it. We walk in and you can see this perfect view of like the mountains that kind of just show how
it looks fake. Like it looks like a painting.
It is kind of weird.
And that's what it was.
Don't move anything.
Yeah. It's wild. I love it.
It did look fake, but it felt super right. And you could envision, having, hey, we could put our offices here. We could do this. It just felt, and so I just thought it was a cool story because it really was. You kind of look, every office just didn't seem right. And then as soon as we walked in, it just,
and that process takes a while. I mean, you got to, Kevin and Keith, Jasmine, Juliana, the whole team, they take a lot of pride too. When we go into those office space, people tear up when you go into that and you see Catalyst on the door the first time. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'll tell you, it's an emotional time. And when we were at your open house and your clients were coming in, they're hugging you saying, you know what, it's about time you guys did
Those
this.
are some good folks too.
Yeah. That was fun.
That was.
Yeah.
I got to give a shout out to David Tovey too in Alexandria. His experience on the real estate front, and I was there for this one, was exactly what you just described. We were touring. Everything was okay. It was good. I mean, it was good space, but it just never clicked. And the guy goes, I've got one more on the other side of town. Mm-hmm. You want to go check it out? And we're like, well, what the hell? We might as well. And it was a home run.
And really, it was that space we thought was above us almost.
Yeah.
It sounds,
It was
did
that
that
good.
sound weird? It was so good. We're like,
Yeah.
we could never get in that building.
Well, we made it, when the way we've structured the economics, right? We're in this for the long haul with you, right? And so signing a long-term lease, as you can imagine, in 60 plus locations, it's not an easy thing to do from a capital
We
perspective.
always joke we never set out to be a REIT,
No.
but we are one.
But but the beauty,
Okay.
Yeah.
but we
Sophie
look
did.
back on it 12 years later, 13 years later, we haven't really had any issues with it because we're dealing with people that we trust.
Right.
And that we look them in the eye and we're like, look, what do you want to accomplish? Let's meet in the middle again. Let's find a place that works for you. If we got to stretch a little bit, we're going to do that. And then furnishing it. The color scheme in that office was awesome. And I'll tell you, it's beautiful. So I'm looking forward to seeing the next one.
Yeah.
I'm being from Montana. I'd love to. Why don't you get a Montana look?
Catalyst, Montana. Let's go.
Let's go. A guide service. Too.
Let's go. I'll put it right in the school.
Investments and guide service.
We want that. Gary might get mad.
I think
we got to go.
Well, I think we
closer.
might go Whitefish, maybe.
Whitefish. Perfect.
Kalispell,
Yes. We'll have a whole separate
Hamilton.
I love it.
meeting about that one.
We're headed there tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. That was really cool. Thanks, guys. Bryce, this is the part where I put you on the spot. Talk to us about what it's like to work with your dad day in, day out. And I'm asking this question for a couple of specific reasons. One, there are more than a handful of folks in our network already that are in this, that have this father-son or mother-son, mother-daughter thing. And there are a lot of people that are coming that have that dynamic. So I think it'd be interesting for people to hear what it's been like for you.
He's not here to defend himself either.
Yeah, well, that was by design. Right?
I didn't invite him on purpose. No,
Sorry, Darren.
And we miss you again.
So, gosh, I mean, that is kind of a loaded question. I could probably take a lot of time going in on this because I feel so passionately about it.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not right for everyone, but for me and my dad's relationship, it's perfect because we have different personalities and he's been doing this for, when I say this, I mean, he's been doing investments for people for 30 plus years. And so he has this great knowledge that I'm terrified that, if something happens to him, we'll just be lost. But anyway, he has this great knowledge and ability to just know numbers, stock market. He just has like this really great way about it. And so I felt like that was a perfect kind of a path to follow. And I feel like I could just be the other side of it, which is I wanted to do something that made a difference in people's lives, and I could connect with people and really just, be a catalyst in people's lives and help them with something that's important, which is, their financial wealth and retirement. And so what happened was in our old firm, I was kind of testing the waters. We joined together. We were in the same office. And we just found that we worked really well together. We were able to bounce ideas off each other, and I could kind of complement his weaknesses and vice versa. And he had knowledge and experience, and I was just this newbie coming in, didn't know anything, but was good at connecting with people and building relationships. Not that he's not, but I feel like that's one of my better strengths.
Yeah.
And so we started working really well together and we just found great success. And so again, when Klint came to us to say, hey, let's go independent because these are the benefits, I turned to my dad and I pushed him. I said, I think we would do so well together in this environment and we could have more freedom. You would have more freedom to help people with their investments. I would have more freedom to build a better relationship with them. And it just worked out great.
We're jealous because we both wanted to do that. We're both advisors. So with any of our children, right?
And the irony is my son may end up in this business anyway. Just,
well, my daughter's in
side
business.
door.
I won't have a book to share it.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
It's a bummer, but we're jealous. That would.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel kind of bad for others, I guess, because I am blessed, I feel like, and has been a great benefit in not just my life, my family's life.
I met your sister. She doesn't have any interest in coming into the business.
Not yet.
All right.
She's definitely part of the business right now. She is our office support, and she's definitely involved in a lot.
Yeah.
But right now, hasn't decided to kind of fully commit to becoming an advisor and all that. So.
We're seeing more of that. I mean, it's really a trend in the business. And clients like that. Clients trust you and your family, and they like to see, because many of your clients are small business owners where they brought their kids into the business together, right? Yeah. So it's you're aligned.
And Klint, you're like the permanent third wheel, so they just gang up.
Exactly. It is. Basically, it's a family business, and this adopted child.
Plus you.
Right. Plus one.
Right.
I'm the plus one. But it works out great because Garen has a specific niche that he is amazing at. Bryce has the same thing. I think we all have these specific things that we have to do at an elevated level.
When you're in the office. And the way you guys gel.
Just all together, it just makes the machine that much better.
Totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. The other point that I wanted to make sure we touched on is you guys, and we've already kind of touched on it, but you guys have a real appetite and a vision to do what we call tuck-ins, which is adding people to the existing office that you have. In addition to bolt-ons, which is creating a new office that's remote from the office that you guys already have. So talk to us a little bit about that. Share what your thoughts are, and you guys talk about that.
And so, coming from a firm where there's, multiple advisors in the same city, but all in different locations, for us to really kind of integrate thought and kind of bounce ideas, we'd have to go to like a weekly lunch, which kind of was a pain. It would take away from business. So once we got the business up and running and we got that location that has additional office space for more advisors, then all of a sudden we're like, hey, you do this well, I do this well, your dad does this well, so-and-so does this amazing, and it would be a great stack on our business block. So then we are reaching out to those people, sharing with the benefits with them, and trying to kind of, what do you guys call it, a tuck-in?
Tuck-in, yeah.
Yeah. So then we've already ran the rocky road.
Yeah. And it's plowed the field, basically.
Yeah. So basically they just open a laptop, boom, reach out to their clients that want to do business, and then it kind of enhances our business as well.
Yeah, and we're seeing a lot of teams add CFPs, CDFAs, certified divorce financial advisors, SEPA, certified exit plan. I mean, there are some real cool niches that can come into your existing client base. Like I said, small business owners that really need help on building a succession plan to their business, and how do they value it, and how do they exit out of that business and monetize. So there's some cool things going on. I think we've got 7 SEPAs joining this year, a number of CFPs, CDFA. We have a number of female advisors that are CDFAs. And, with the number of divorces going on today, that's certainly a busy designation that's being used. And those are some cool additions to the team that I know you're looking at as well.
Yeah, because it's like you just always want to be better, and
can't do everything.
And you really need other people to help you along, and frankly, they need you sometimes to help them along.
100%. So the work that you guys have done to sort of lay the foundation is hugely advantageous to people that come in later. We're running right up against time here, so I want to, as promised, I wanted to wrap up with one more question. So when you guys just take a breath and look over the horizon a little bit at the next evolution or whatever.
This seems like a serious question.
Well, it is.
Maybe we should take a break.
It's very. We'll be right back.
Yeah, sure.
Sponsored by Fiji. No, what do you, when you look over that horizon, and if you could wave that magic wand, what do you guys see? What does it look like?
Wow. I would say the easiest way for me to put it would be to be more regional instead of local. And that only happens with partnering with people beyond, nobody wants to drive an hour to come to my office, except the people that really love us. And so I think it's just leveraging other people's skill sets outside of our local, and partnering with them. That's what I kind of see to kind of move the needle. And then we're just adjust as we go.
I mean, at this point, there's so many tools that we have technology wise that we can grow, and you don't have to be local.
Right.
And we can expand more regionally and out of state and have clients who are all over. And so that's really our vision, is we want to grow. We want to partner with others, other advisors, and bring them in and grow also, our book of business outside of our local neighborhood.
Yeah. And we say that because we're process driven.
Yeah.
We're very process driven people, and some people that we know that have done business with maybe aren't as process driven. So I think once it'll be more a great plug-in, and we'll all benefit.
That's a good point. Really good point. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And that'll do it for us. So thanks for making the trip. We really appreciate it. It's good to see you. Thanks for sharing your thoughts.
Yeah, this is great.
And congrats on a great 12 to 18 months of hard work, but glad you made it through the other side.
No doubt.
Yes,
Amazing.
Awesome.
Thanks. Survived.
Yeah.
And really getting after it for people that are relatively young in the independent curve. So it's impressive.
Well done.
That'll do it for another edition of Private Wealth Services on the Fly. Thanks for being with us, and we'll see you soon.